and we were discussing transportation, urbanization, training, and transportation. So what's the context? The context is that by 2050, the population of Africa will be 2.5 billion. And of that 2.5 billion, slightly more than half, 1.3, will be young people below 30. So the question, to put it roughly, either we plan for them or they kick us out because of the conflicts that will be generated. So, so what we said on training, we said, as I close, training, we said, dual training. And government already has a position paper whereby apprenticeship is part of it. Secondly, there are young people who missed school but went into work. So we are calling that recognizing prior learning. And number 3, we are saying we need to update the curriculums so that they are fit for the market. So that when a young person says, I graduated, the employer wants to know, so what can you do? On urbanization, we said sustainable urbanization. On building infrastructure, we said green buildings. Terminologies you're well aware. Thank you, PS.
Thank you, Engineer. I know that was a hard task, but if you're saying Gen Z and you understand them, tell us, Engineer, Doug Niamini? So, next.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Surely. Okay, let me greet Gen Zs. Good afternoon, Gen Zs. So we have Gen Zs more than ladies and gentlemen. No worries. Your Excellency, the PS, and all protocols observed. My name is Joshua Samson from Takataka Nimali. Yes, I was representing, I was the thematic lead for circularity and waste systems. And we have 5 points. How many points? 5. I'm saying 5 so that you know when I'm almost done. Firstly, Bona PS and the team, we have agreed that we need to move from pilot to systems and from policies to implementation. So no more waste pilot projects, but more of waste systems and infrastructures. Number 2, we have agreed that we need to rethink how we finance the green transition. Why this is important is because while grants are still important, sustainability post-grants and donations is really crucial, so that then we are able to have life beyond donations. Number 3, Bona PS and everyone, we have agreed that technology must create African capability. So here we are saying that we cannot build green economies that remains dependent on imported technologies or expertise, but we must upskill ourselves and have locally made solutions that are also sustainable. Number 4, we have said that people must be at the center of the transition and not at the end of it. When we create policies, when we create systems, when we create solutions, we are creating them for the people. So the people must be at the center of all this, including those at the bottom of the pyramid, waste reclaimers to be specific. We've said we are not calling them waste pickers, since they are now saying they are formal and no longer informal. Then lastly, we need to stop thinking in isolated sectors. So this is a connected system from manufacturing to energy to agriculture to finance to technology to markets. We all have to work together so that we can achieve circularity. We have made a resolution that circularity is possible. Our mindsets must change so that we see it as a possibility, and that way we shall achieve circularity in our country and in our continent of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joshua, and thank you to Takataka Nimali. You have been so gracious to lead all the cross-cutting pillars throughout for the 2 days. We appreciate you so much. Sir? Your Excellency, all protocols observed. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Kanda, and I work for the Global Energy Alliance. I was leading a thematic room around renewable energy productive use renewable energy and productive use of that energy, which essentially means is connections is one thing to do, but you also have to think about the other side of those connections. How do you create jobs with electricity once you connect it? So we had 3 key things that we discussed in that room. Finance always comes on top, discussing how do you come up with innovative mechanisms that finance the different kinds of SMEs, the different kinds of challenges that we have in a sector, and how do we create jobs out of that. We also discussed social systems, the human side of the work that we do. How do we ensure that as we're creating these jobs, they also have safety nets and they have security, social protection structures that protect the actual both informal and formal employees and workers that we intend to get into these jobs. And then lastly, we discussed about policy, regulations, and government systems, which of course is always an interesting topic to talk about. And some of the things that came up is we are not short of policies as a country or as a sector or as a region, and we need to shift from just having policies at national level and actually having ways to translate these policies to local level where they need to generate the most impact. So I think moving forward, reflections I took from that room is that, one, we have made strides as a sector. We have policies, as I mentioned, we have reports, we have research, we have pilots, as my colleague mentioned, and we need to move beyond just that. So we discussed the challenges, we also discussed the solutions. So let's now go forward towards the solutions and not just leave this room with a lot of information, but no concrete next steps. The other thing is there are still gaps, and they were highlighted, jobs gaps were highlighted, but we need to do more than just highlight the gaps. We need to take the next step of actually now solving for also the many solutions that were also offered. And then lastly, it's, just to summarize and bring it all together, it's that we need to do the next thing. So for all those things that were shared in all these rooms, if the next thing for you means reaching out to a partner to come up with a program, then do that. The next thing is coming up with a policy, then do that. If the next thing is a partnership, then it's research, then let's do that and not leave this room with just a lot of information but no concrete next steps. So thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah, from Europe. And we have heard from some of our partners yesterday, but there are 2 partners that we would like to hear from today, very briefly, and that is from all the way from the UK, the Centre for Global Development. We'll hear from Helen Dempster. Yes, you can just encourage her. She can. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for attending, Honourable Minister, and to everybody else here. My name is Helen Dempster. I work for the Centre for Global Development, a research institution based in the UK. Now, we hear a lot about what constrains the green transition, a lack of finance, a lack of technology, a lack of political will, but what we rarely hear about is the lack of skills, and that's why we are so excited to be partnering with Jacobs Ladder Africa on the Greenworks for Africa Forum, and we've had a phenomenal 2 days of discussions. It's been wonderful to hear from all of you about how we can create the jobs and skills that can offer decent, sustainable opportunities for African and accelerate the green transition across the continent. Now, one striking fact really has stuck with me from the opening ceremony, which is that under 1% of international climate finance goes to human capital. And this is not a climate finance problem alone. On average, countries in the global south spend about 0.2% of their GDP on technical and vocational education and training. Now, if Africa is going to meet its green transition targets, that number has to go up. We need to be prioritizing skills development, both hard and soft. Yet, as you all know, the vast majority of workers in this space are informal, and most workers are gaining their skills through informal apprenticeships. The result is often a mismatch between what skills systems produce and what industries need, with very little engagement with employers. So 2 things must change, and we've heard a lot about these in the last 2 days. Firstly, we need more formal jobs in the green sector, and these will not just simply appear. They require deliberate policy and regulatory environments to support labour market growth, with skills policy at the very heart of that effort.
And second, we need good, real, strong investments in formal vocational education, in improving its quality, its equipment and infrastructure, and its alignment with industry. So where should that investment go? With many of you in the room, we've been identifying really great high-performing TVET centres across Africa, delivering good green skills and connecting graduates out with decent jobs. All of them are operating under governance models that keep their training responsive to industry and accountable to employers. And all of these have active, credible plans to scale. All they need is that investment. So over the last 2 days, we've been hearing from so many of these remarkable institutions and training partners, and we're really excited to work with you all to be able to unlock more financing to support your fantastic plans, and with it, the skills to be able to support Africa's green transition. So again, I want to thank you for having us here as a partner. It's been a wonderful few days, and hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Helen. And we will have, on behalf of Mr. Boaz, and on behalf of Dr. David Muthenyi, who is the Country Director for AGRA, we will have Mr. Boaz Kezire, who is the Director of Policy and State Capability AGRA, to give a remark, very brief, 3 minutes. Encourage him as he comes on stage.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. With all protocols observed, let me start by appreciating the major principles the African Union had from the Commissioner of the African Union welcoming us to this, the Jacob's Ladder, the major convener, and more importantly, the government of Kenya, our host. Congratulations for hosting us and having everybody fly in, sleep well, eat well, rest well, and I hope if they leave, they will live very well. Congratulations, government of Kenya. In many ways, people take that for granted. Creating the enabling environment, the policies, the institutions, the mechanisms, is the kind of work I do. My name is Boaz Kezire. I lead the policy and advocacy at AGRA, and part of this work is engaging and working with governments. So AGRA is happy to be part of the partners supporting this particular convening. But before I just make a few closing remarks in 3 minutes, I think I have learned a lot in this particular conference. One, everybody has spoken about the centrality of policy frameworks, policies, laws, regulations, administrative practices, the decisions that government officials make that create the right enabling environment, creating jobs for young people, but very uniquely for within the environment space. When we had the global community convene and call for the UN Food System Summit, the intention was clear, that agriculture transformation was happening, but there are two missing links: climate, energy, and also nutrition. That those things are interchangeably clear together, without which you can never drive food system in the continent. So, as we close this session, I really want to congratulate and bring everybody together that this has been a wonderful engagement, and I want to leave one big challenge. We've had a very wonderful solution that have been created by young people. They are very important for coming events. The Africa Food System Forum coming in the next few weeks in Kigali. We will be showcasing practical solutions and models that we've had all over here. But another very, very critical one is next year. Africa and the government of Ethiopia will be hosting the COP32. The presidency of the COP32 has announced that this is not an Ethiopia presidency, it's an Africa COP32. And remember, as I close, remember historically the establishment of Conference of Parties on Climate Change debates have been focusing on environment alone. Just 3 years ago, I think in Sharm el-Sheikh, bringing the food system in the climate debate was a major shift. And I think listening in this particular summit, it was extremely very clear how young people are actually bringing food system and climate together. I saw firsthand just 2 days ago in Mombasa, bodabodas, tuk-tuk, having a solar panel on top,
driving and ferrying passengers. That means the amount of greenhouse gas emission being reduced to the atmosphere are major. So solutions are actually there. So we're moving into that space. So I challenge you, young people, urban, everybody, that come to COP 32, we need to show up with very strong solutions and support the African COP 32 presidency with solutions. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you so much. I think he has done the work for me, because we have come to the segment where a lot of you have been waiting for. We have talked about the coalition of the willing, and so now it's time for us to put money where our mouth is. But before we do that, we will have the media team play a video, and then we will have the interim executive director of the Alliance of Greening Skills and Opportunities, Caroline Okiwo, come and speak to us a little bit about AGSO Kenya and AGSO Africa.
In a time of global climate urgency and rising youth unemployment, Kenya stands at the threshold of transformation. A new story is being written, one rooted in collaboration, innovation, and collective action. In February 2024, at a roundtable hosted by Jacob South Africa, a diverse group of stakeholders came together. This was the beginning of what would become the Alliance for Greening Skills and Opportunities, AGSO. Between February and April, stakeholders met across over 28 virtual and in-person forums. More than 750 participants from 100 organizations shared their expertise and insights. This was the reality. Many actors with passion and expertise, but working in silos, each moving in different directions. AGSO emerged to bring these efforts together, to create coherence, coordination, and collective purpose. In April, stakeholders gathered in person at Strathmore University. With voices from key stakeholders, we refined the roadmap for green skills development. Momentum grew. At the high-level breakfast in April, 5 permanent secretaries and development partners pledged their support for coordinated action. On May 3rd, over 2,000 stakeholders from across 38 counties convened at the KICC. With youth at the heart, we validated findings and made firm commitments. A skills development working group was formed to implement the commitment. 3 thematic groups were established and 30+ organizations mobilized. The stakeholder-led working group provided the roadmap for the institutionalization of AGSO. Today, with 22 member organizations in the representative board and a digital platform providing a central repository in place, AGSO is ready to lead collective, evidence-based action. This is your moment to be part of the change. Together, we are stronger. Together, we are AGSO.
Good afternoon. The video has done my work. As you have seen, that has been our journey to this day, and coordinated action is something that we believe in. As you've seen from the video, we were doing things, very great things, but we found they were all fragmented, and therefore AGSO came to bring all of these efforts together so that instead of having many organizations working independently and with overlapping goals, we could do all of this together. And so, if I could have the slides up. I think I have the, is it here? Oh, there it is. Okay, please move the slide for me. That's the one? Okay. All right, thank you. So that's where we were. This is where we are now. We are now working together. So I wanted to say, with 22 member organizations that are currently serving on the interim board, we are moving the agenda forward. Our mission together is to accelerate multi-sector collaboration and promote pathways towards greening skills and opportunity. That's entirely what we exist for. Jacob's Ladder Africa sits on the board as the vice chair and oversees the secretariat, hosting the alliance. And these are our objectives. We want to make sure that instead of doing things apart, we are collectively agenda setting and an agenda driving. Then together we are resource and knowledge sharing. We are working on data and evidence. We found that that's a major thing that is missing in this ecosystem. We want to create awareness. A lot of what is not happening is because people are not aware and have the knowledge of what the green ecosystem is about. And finally, we are resource mobilizing. We want to invite the rest of us to join this movement. Together with the rest of Africa, we want to mirror what we have seen to work here in Kenya, so that we are able together to amplify unified advocacy for what we are trying to do. I believe everyone in this room wants to see the needle move, therefore we want to amplify that. We want to design policies. We found that the contexts that we have are shared across our borders. We want to drive evidence-based interventions that are based on the data that we're trying to build. We want to also unlock blended finance. We could be the portal through which finance comes in and is not scattered in many different directions. So collaboratively tapping into the climate finance that is available out there. Finally, we want to go together to COP32 with this unified position that we have developed in this and other forums that will come ahead of the COP next year. So we are welcoming you to kindly join us on this journey that we have begun today, so that together we can move this agenda forward. I now want to hand this back to Manda, or to call up Dr. Wanjiru kindly to come and make some remarks. The Ministry of Labor and Social Protection has been with us amongst other government agencies from the start, and Dr. Wanjiru is one of our co-chairs at AGSO, which is currently co-chaired by 3 government departments, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me recognize Dr. Engineer Festus Muno from our sister department for Environment and Climate Change, Stella Bogonko, CEO, Jacob's Ladder, and host of AGSO. As you have heard, the State Department for Labor and Skills Development is one of the co-chairs of AGSO. And in that unifying hub, we are co-chairing with education and environment. So these 3 departments are key in AGSO. And our work is to bring together public, private, academia, NGOs, CSOs, youth together, so that we walk this journey together and ensure that Kenya successfully transitions into a green economy. This forum has come at a very good time, because just last month we launched the National Strategy on Green Skills and Jobs. It was launched during the World Youth Skills Day on 15th July 2026. You can get this strategy on the KIPRA website, on the Ministry of Labor website, download it and also put it on your website. And look at the strategy and see where you can come in. We have different pillars on green governance, green skills, green enterprise, green research and development, and green finance. So see where you can plug in and join us on AGSO so that we can walk this journey together. We are very keen on ensuring that Kenya becomes a model. Remember, we have just been told that the next COP 32, 2027 will be in Africa. So we would like to showcase Kenya as a model and a leader in the green transition. My part in short is for us to continue working together. Government can't do this alone. We need you. We need to work collaboratively. So I'm calling upon strong stakeholder engagement. Stakeholders, please come and join government as we work towards transitioning into the green economy so that we create green jobs for our young people. I also want to say that even for us who are here, I think we are going home after 2 days of very serious dialogue, and we have a shared responsibility to take this dialogue further and ensure that whatever we are discussing, we ensure that it is transitioned into action, so that we don't leave a legacy of just words. We have a legacy where we put words into action. I think you are aware that once the green transition comes on board, it has already started. We are going to create jobs, but at the same time, we might lose some jobs. So we have to ensure that we reskill, we upskill, active labor market policies, career guidance, recognition of prior learning. Everything has to come in to ensure that we do not leave anyone behind as we move towards making Kenya a leader in the green economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wanjiru. And we do, as Jacob Zara Africa, stand as witnesses that government is really willing to work with the different stakeholders. And so through the Alliance, we have seen that support. We continue to work together. And like we said, we want to be able to band together as Africa towards the road to COP32. And this is really the opportunity for us to do so. So the team will project a QR code on screen. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Like I said, do not feel pressure, but the pressure is there, feel it, to join the Alliance for Greening Skills Africa. If you would like to be a part of this alliance, if you'd like to be a part of the road to COP32 as a movement on green jobs and skills, this is the opportunity. Scan the QR code, fill out the form, very, very simple form, and we will get in touch with you beyond that with the next steps, the different things that we'll be doing towards ensuring that Africa's position on green jobs and skills is heard at COP32, amongst many other things that we'll do together. I'll just give you exactly 2 minutes to do so. Media team, you should have given them a song with pressure. If you're having challenges, if you're non-Gen Z and you're having challenges with the QR code, just ask for help. Anyone? Anyone? Ask a Gen Z next to you. Okay, you can proceed, you can continue filling out the form, but we will move along with the program. I know we are excited to close and go for lunch, but before we do that, we must hear from other people more specifically our CEO and co-founder, who will give closing remarks and introduce our chief guest. Yes, love it, love it.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I know we're hungry, we're waiting for lunch. I guarantee all of you there's food enough for everyone. So when I say hi, just give me that last energy. Hi. Hi. All right, let's start by giving ourselves a round of applause. Everyone. It's been an amazing 2 days. And before I start my official part of what I want to say, someone asked me, why do you do this? Do you know, it's like politics. You have to mobilize people, convince them why they're coming, get the right people in the room. It's a lot of work. And someone asked me, why do you keep doing this? Because we've done several convenings since we were founded about 3.5 years ago. And I think it's because someone has to do it. And every time we're in these rooms, we always say the missing link is, we know the problems, but the issue is the connecting the dots, and that's where the hard work is. And so we volunteered as Jacob's Ladder to always make sure we get the right people in the room and that we connect those dots so that the pipeline moves. One of my famous, not quotes, but thing that I said at the very beginning when we started convenings is the arrows that you've seen there. We're all working towards the same goal, but in different directions, sometimes even in opposite directions without knowing. But the idea behind AGSO and the convenings that we have is really just to make sure that we are moving in the same direction in a concerted effort or concerted manner. And so we wouldn't be able to do that if you were also not willing to play your part. And so we're just the oil in the engine, but the hard work is actually being done by everyone in this room and many more that are not here today who have been here over the last 2 days but had to excuse themselves. So thank you from Jacob's Ladder. We wouldn't be able to do this kind of stuff without you, and God bless you. P.S. Thank you for always being supportive. We really appreciate it. As you've seen in all the convenings that we've had, it's important to have champions in government. And from the CS level, especially within the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Labor, we've always had amazing support from them. For those who don't know, I worked in government. I know what it takes to convince a principal secretary or a CS to show up in your meeting. It's a lot of work. And so when you get champions, you really have to hold on to them. So thank you for making the time, PS. The PS Labor was, as of this morning, meant to be here, but he excused himself, but he sent the very able Dr. Wanjiru, who we also work with very closely. As you heard, the Green Skills and Jobs Strategy was launched recently, and it's one of those documents that we are supporting quite a bit as Jacob's Ladder. To the country director, AGRA, GIZ, and all the other partners, the African Union is very critical because of where we are going as COP32. For those of you who don't know, as you show up in Addis Ababa, the African Union is a good partner to have on the ground, and we've been having amazing conversations with them. They helped us and also partnered with us last year during the Africa Climate Summit 2 that was held in Addis Ababa, and we're still working with them towards COP32. And then, of course, financial sector deepening, an amazing partner who's driving now driving the financing side of green skills and green jobs, a very critical partner. Haven't we loved the research that they've been bringing out, right? It's really been helpful. So in fact, let's give them a round of applause for that amazing research that's helping us find what to do and how to do it. And GIZ always showing up, especially when it comes to these convenings, but also when it comes to matters skills and finding out what are the curriculums that are required, what are the specific interventions that are required to get things moving. And of course, as you heard, the Center for Global Development. So over the last 2 days, we began with gathering with a simple proposition that Africa is not in short of policies or in short of ideas, but what we have is a challenge as in Africa is turning those ideas and those policies into actual work at scale, not just work. And so we asked ourselves not simply what's going to work, but how do we make it work together? And we asked you to interrogate case studies that we presented from across the continent. We asked you to ask difficult questions, to look beyond the polished presentations, and to understand why those case studies actually worked in those countries. Because like we said yesterday, there are people that have gotten it right. And in the rooms that you were in, I'm sure you managed to interact with those case studies. And the idea, like we said, is really to find out how do we replicate and domesticate those case studies or those programs and initiatives. Across the conversations, which covered energy, food systems, enterprise, skills development, finance, technology, policy, and market systems, one of the messages that cut across was this, that Africa's green transition will not just create jobs automatically. We have to design those jobs deliberately. We have to design them in the programs that we come up with, and then we have to drive the change beyond the barriers. I love what the UNEP director said yesterday, the Africa director for UNEP, that the obstacle is the opportunity, or the obstacle is the way, which is the title of a book. We have to be able to look or go beyond those obstacles. The other thing that was very clear for us is that, like I said, we have to be able to find ways of connecting the dots, and not just in Kenya through AGSO, but also continentally, which is what we're working towards, like I said, towards COP32. We came here to identify what's working. We're living, as Sarah from GAP said, with our clear next tasks at hand. But we have to connect what is working, strengthen it, finance it, and replicate it at scale. And that's why this gathering was convened, to make sure that Africa begins to solve one of its biggest challenges yet, which is youth unemployment. We've talked about it, we know the challenges, we have the research to show it, we know the gaps. The issue is, why are we not actually closing that gap? In fact, it's getting worse. And we talked about some of those issues in the various rooms that we were in, and yesterday during the opening plenary. So as mentioned yesterday during the opening plenary, and climate change is more than an environmental issue. It's an economic issue. In fact, it's an economic opportunity for Africa, depending on how you look at it. And so to achieve what needs, for us to move the needle forward, we as Jacob's Ladder initiated, alongside all the partners that you had, the Alliance for Green Skills and Opportunity. I will not belabor the point, but the issue is that we are inviting you, because this will be the official vehicle that we will use when we are engaging with the different partners at COP32. Last year in COP31, the PS was part of the team that launched something that is called the Global Skills Initiative, which is funded and a member, it has various members, including GIZ, the World Bank, etc., run by Systemic, for those who do not know. But that was a way of highlighting global skills, or skills and jobs, at the COP level for the first time. Now, we will be hosting, or Africa will be hosting, COP32. We need to be able to present a front with clarity on what's working in Africa, what's not working, and what we're doing about it, and then what we need. Oftentimes, especially as government, we go to COP and we say, we need this much money. And yes, well, there's a place for that, don't get me wrong. I think what we need to be saying is that we need this much investment, and it will go into XYZ. As we heard, only 1% or less than 1% goes towards skills development, which is unfortunate for a continent that is supposed to be producing one of the, over 90% of the future workforce, and yet our workforce is not necessarily ready for what is coming. One of my examples that I normally use is, as other countries are talking about robots and they're talking about AI replacing jobs, etc., we're still talking about electricity in terms of connectivity before you get to internet. So we have to really be radical in our thinking on how we can leapfrog that process, just the way we did in telecoms and in mobile money and all that. And unless someone puts the hard work behind it, and not just one person, but multiple people, we will be here producing the largest workforce that's doing the bottom of the pyramid work that requires manual labor. If we don't do something about it, we will be competing with robots from China and other countries, which will be quite unfortunate considering we're in this room discussing the opportunity. And so my prayer and my hope as I conclude is this, that we will get it right, and not just getting it right in terms of conversations. My team and I, or my team knows this, and the partners that we work with know this. We try to do our level best to take what is in the room to action. And we have gotten a lot of information, and we've worked with many of you over the last couple of months during the pre-convenings, and we're not stopping here. The invitation through AGSO is for you to come on board so that when we get to the point where we are actually moving the numbers, because we will have figured it out together, you will be part of the story, not the guys who show up last minute for the photo op. Finally, we are working with the Ministry of Environment, the State Department of Environment and Climate Change, on the NDCs in terms of finding out, now that Kenya has released the current NDCs, we're finding out, or we're working on this report to find out what are the skills that are required for Kenya to be able to realize these NDCs. And as you will hear from the PS, we are looking for partners, technical partners, and also people that are willing to say, we will drive and champion this particular pillar within the NDCs to make sure, for example, if it's in energy, we know the skills gap in the country, and we want to, under the alliance, drive the knowledge of those gaps, closing the gap in terms of academia and industry, and anything else that's going to be required for us to be able to achieve our NDCs. Kenya is known to be a champion and to always be ahead, but I always say we cannot clap for ourselves by being the best amongst not necessarily everyone who's doing well. We need to move to being the best in the world. And that can only happen if we raise our bar and push ourselves. And so if you're interested in being part of the process for the NDC, you will also, I don't know if there's a QR code for that, but if there's none, please find out at the registration desk, and you can be part of it. You can be part of it moving forward, because we've started, but you can join the process and be part of the process. On that note, it gives me great pleasure to now invite our keynote speaker, PS Doctor. You have too many titles. I heard today you're called Your Excellency. Kenyans, Your Excellency is someone who's actually been either voted into office. There are certain levels of people who are called Your Excellency. I was trying to tell you, you might be called by someone to be asked, since when did you become Your Excellency? So anyway, that's on a light note. So it gives me great pleasure. Let's put our hands together for not His Excellency. Yes, no.
Why are you denying me the title? A round of applause to the CEO, Jacob Slada. I truly appreciate what you are doing. It's been a journey, and I'm happy that I've been part and parcel of this journey, looking at where we've come from, and we truly appreciate what you are doing. Allow me on the onset to recognize the CEO from National Environment Trust Fund, NETFund, my colleague and staff from the ministry, Samson Tonyo. I know I'm standing between you and lunch, so I will be very quick, and I know, and it shall be well. So allow me also to appreciate, of course, Jacob Slada, as I've indicated, African Union commissioners who are here, Your Excellency ambassadors, development partners, private sector leaders, members of the academia, distinguished delegates, and I'm informed we have delegates from around 10 countries. Welcome to Kenya. We truly appreciate you. The delegates from the Gambia, Uganda, Tanzania, Mauritania, Lesotho, Togo, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. We are truly appreciative that you are able to find time to come to Kenya, and I hope you found that Kenyans are very warm. And it's a warm country. Welcome to Kenya once more, and I want to encourage you to explore our cuisine and what Kenya is there to offer for you. So appreciate yourself for being here. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, and honor to officially welcome you to Nairobi, as indicated, for this inaugural Greenworks Africa Forum. And to our visitors, I hope you have indulged in the many good things that Kenya and especially Nairobi has to offer. And we welcome you again to stay for more days and find to explore the country. Ladies and gentlemen, across Africa, governments are seeking a model for sustained economic growth that creates decent jobs, strengthens resilience, enhances competitiveness, and safeguards the natural systems upon which our dignity and prosperity depends. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the engagement that took me away from this forum yesterday was a similar forward-looking conversation for Kenya. Kenya at beyond Vision 2030, or Kenya looking at Vision 2060, or Kenya at 100, that is looking at 2063, and the road to Singapore, as the President has usually rallied us as a people. And therefore, we were supposed to have been here, and thank you for understanding that we had to be at the national conversation yesterday. It is increasingly clear that climate action and economic development are not competing priorities. They are in fact mutually reinforcing elements of sustainability. The green economy is no longer a future inspiration or aspiration. It is rapidly becoming one of Africa's greatest economic opportunities. And it is therefore a privilege for Kenya to host this forum. And as the country director indicated, in 2050 we are looking at 2.5 billion people, 1.3 will be under 30. In fact, yesterday we were told it would be under 35, will be around 1.6 billion people. And in 2050, the entire global will be gravitating towards Africa. That Africa is going to be the center of gravity. And you know, when you are a center of gravity, forces come towards you, isn't it? You don't need anything. The people will be gravitating towards you. And that is why His Excellency the President is positioning Kenya to be among the center of gravity for Africa and for the global. And this is important for us as young people as we look at the green skills. Kenya's experience has moved us beyond debating whether a green economy is possible. And our focus today is how to accelerate scale it, and ensure that its benefits are shared widely across our continent. Our country has demonstrated what sustained investment, sound policy, and long-term commitment can achieve. For example, Kenya today, over 90% of Kenya's electricity generation comes from renewable sources, primarily geothermal, hydropower, wind, and solar. But that is not simply an energy statistic. It represents businesses powered, communities empowered, industries enable and create resilience for our economy. It demonstrates that investing in green energy can also be an investment in national development. I've been reliably informed, ladies and gentlemen, that the conversation in the various thematic rooms, which were an extension of discussions from our series of online pre-convenings, were rich and engaging. And it was under the following themes. One, the finance, technology, innovation, and market systems pillar, the social systems pillar, and the policy, regulation, and governance systems pillar. Indeed, many have opined that more time was needed for the conversations, and therefore I think the 2 days seller, we need to extend it in next time, which is a testament to how rich the conversations are. Wow. But this conference was convened to commence, to accelerate, to take stock, showcase, share, course correct, aligned, build coalitions, learn and do many things, but not in any way be an end to itself. I commend the innovative format of this conference. Greenworks for Africa has been intentionally designed as a working forum, not simply another conference, and definitely not a talk show. It is indeed refreshing to see that rich and diverse participation, representatives of governments, development, finance institutions, investors, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, training institutions, and development partners working side by side, sharing experiences and lessons or practices for implementation of long term after this forum is concluded. Ladies and gentlemen, anchored under the aspirations of Agenda 2063 and aligned with the African Union Continental Technical and Vocational Education and Training Strategy 2025-2034, this forum has spurred us to move beyond dialogue towards delivery. Its ambition is to strengthen a shared understanding of Africa's green jobs ecosystem, showcase investment-ready models that can be replicated across countries, and establish practical accountability mechanisms capable of supporting implementation across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, as Africa, we possess extraordinary advantages from unparalleled natural capital and rapidly expanding innovation systems to the youngest population in any continent. I would add and say we have very high level of intellect among our young people. And if these assets are matched with the right investments, the right partnerships, and the right skills, Africa will not merely participate in the global green transition, we will help shape it and steer it all together. However, ladies and gentlemen, this transformation must also remain rooted in our responsibility as custodians of environment. We need to protect our forests, restoring our degraded landscapes, conserving our biodiversity, and strengthening our climate action and resilience building are not separate from economic development. They are the very foundation upon which a resilient, inclusive, and competitive clean economy must be built. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, allow me to acknowledge the African Union, our development partners, financial institutions, private sector collaborators, academic institutions, and civil society organizations whose partnerships has made this important platform possible. I also, in a special way, recognize Jacob's Ladder Africa and congratulations Sela for that sterling, for bringing together. It is not easy. This is like a political movement, as you said. Bringing people together into this forum and listening or just steering a course is not easy. It's not a mean feat. A round of applause to the Jacob's Ladder Foundation. You have created a space dedicated not only to conversations, but also to implementations. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the work that begins here must extend beyond Nairobi. The partnerships forged, the commitments made, the solutions developed over the coming days should inform national policies, mobilize investment, strengthen regional cooperations, and contribute to meaningfully to Africa's collective voice as we continue reshaping the continent's green workforce agenda in the lead up or run up to the COP32 next year in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, Honorable PS. I must confess, I am one of those who is calling you His Excellency, but who knows, I might be prophesying. Please stay on stage, Honorable PS. We want to do a quick photo, and we'll have our CEO General on stage. I'd also like to call up some of our partners to join us on stage for a photograph. FSD Africa, call Kevin and Bana Khan, if Bana is here. We also have Agra on behalf of Dr. Davis. We will also have CGD, the African Union, Nicholas, Anna, and GIZ, Emmanuel and Tracy. Will you kindly, quickly come on stage and we will have a photo. Can we balance the photo a bit? You can have some. So I also ask Dr. Njala on behalf of Labour, please come. Yes, I heard Dr. Kimbi, great to see you. Please join, fantastic. These are the people that have helped bring this forum together. Let's celebrate them. We have our partners leave the room as they go for lunch. We will only keep you for another 5 minutes as we do our final vote of thanks. And to take us through that, I will have Joanne Kubai give the vote of thanks. Joanne? You can encourage her with some claps. She has been the program manager specifically for this, but works with us at Jacobs Ladder. Joanne. Good afternoon, everyone. When I say it's a pleasure to have you all, I really mean it on behalf of our team. And I won't be the person who's keeping you from lunch at dessert, so I'll keep it brief. So, all our guests, partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, like Amanda said, my name is Joanne Kubai, and I work at Jacobs Ladder Africa in our program design and implementation team. And part of my role has been bringing to life the vision of GoWorks for Africa. As we draw the curtain on this year's GoWorks for Africa Forum, I would like to thank all our partners, as has been mentioned, the African Union, the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, FSD Africa, AGRA, GIZ, Center for Global Development, Siemens. Thank you so much for your collaboration, your expertise, and the belief in what we're putting together. I also want to specifically thank everyone who contributed to our thematic room sessions, all our thematic leads, our technical coaches, our case study presenters. We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you for bringing real-world experiences, evidence, and solutions into the room. To our exhibitors, and if you haven't had the chance to see what our exhibitors have, please make a point of passing through this space. We want to thank them for bringing their solutions for us to interact with. We appreciate that so much. And beyond that, all our speakers, moderators, and facilitators in our side events, we appreciated all the experience you brought into your room. A special word of appreciation is going to our visionary, our CEO and co-founder of Jacobs Ladder Africa, Stella Bogonko, for her leadership, her ambition, and the belief that we can bring this to life. I think you've heard it from her. She has a brilliant vision for Africa, and it's an honor for us to welcome it and bring it to life, but also to see all of you here as an extension of that vision. And we are going further as we build the roadmap to COP32, but also as we build a unified position for Africa on green skills and jobs. It would be a crime for me to not thank our team. The brilliant Jacobs Ladder Africa team, thank you. You had long hours, problem solving, coordination, and a lot of teamwork. And I think all this came together because of that team. I appreciate all the effort you put into this, and guys, we did it. Finally, I said finally.